Hey there, welcome back. I'm Flat Rate Mechanic, and today we're diving into an intriguing little trick, how to turn just about any metal hand tool in your shop into a magnetic tool. Sounds simple, right? Just wrap some wire around it, zap it with a battery, and voila. But does it actually work? Well, stick around because we're about to find out. Now, I've heard about this mechanic's trick for years, and honestly, it sounds almost too good to be true. Today, we'll test it out with a basic socket extension and a car battery. But before we dive in, I should mention that this whole experiment is pretty sketchy. Definitely not something I'd recommend trying at home. Still, I'll do it for you so you know what to expect. So let's get started with the wire wrapping experiment. I've got my trusty socket extension here. It's nothing fancy, just your standard chrome-plated tool that most mechanics have in their toolbox. First thing I did was test it against a bolt to see if it's magnetic right off the bat, and guess what? No attraction whatsoever. Now here's the setup. I wrapped a bunch of wire around that extension, creating a coil. The idea is that when you run electrical current through this coil, it generates a magnetic field that can temporarily magnetize the metal inside. It's basic electromagnet theory, something we all learned in high school. But listen up. What I'm about to do is unsafe, so please don't try this at home. The wire can melt, you could get burned, or worse. The battery can blow up, vent dangerous gases. It's serious business. I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes, so you can see what happens. Now for the fun part. I touched the battery terminals with the wire a few times. You want quick pulses of current, not a sustained connection. Otherwise, you're just asking for trouble. After a few quick taps, I tested that extension against the same bolt again. And guess what? It worked. The bolt stuck to the extension. We've got ourselves a magnetic tool, at least for now. But let's break this down a bit. You might be wondering why this works in the first place. So here's the deal. When electrical current flows through a coil of wire wrapped around a ferromagnetic material like steel, it creates an electromagnet. The current generates a magnetic field that temporarily aligns the magnetic domains inside the steel. But here's the catch. This magnetization is weak and doesn't last very long. The strength of this magnetic field is significantly lower than what you'd get from a real permanent magnet. We're talking about a field strength of around 0.001 to 0.01 Tesla at best, compared to a neodymium magnet, which ranges from 0.3 to 1.4 Tesla. So while it's cool that it worked, it's definitely not a game changer. Now let's talk safety. This experiment is dangerous because when you short a battery with a wire like this, you're pulling a massive amount of current. The wire heats up quickly, which is a serious risk. You could burn yourself, or the wire could burn through completely. Plus, if you're using lithium batteries, the risk is even higher. Stick to old-school lead-acid batteries if you feel the need to experiment, but seriously, be careful. If you're going to mess with this, make sure you've got insulated gloves, safety glasses, and work in a well-ventilated area. And hey, keep a fire extinguisher handy, just in case. So, now that we've proven that the wire trick sort of works, let's look at better options for magnetic tools. Honestly, the easiest and safest thing to do is just buy tools that are already magnetic. Magnetic bit holders are super affordable, usually between $5 and $10, and they hold your bits way better than anything you'll make with a wire and battery. If you want to magnetize your tools properly, investing in a bench magnetizer is a great move. These tools are specifically designed for the job, with strong permanent magnets or controlled electromagnets inside. You just stroke your tool across them a few times, and boom, it's magnetized and way safer than playing with battery terminals. And if you need to pick up dropped bolts or screws, nothing beats a telescoping magnetic pickup tool. They use neodymium magnets, which are incredibly strong and can lift several pounds of steel. Trust me, these tools save your back from crawling around on the floor looking for that bolt you dropped into the engine bay. Now before we wrap up, let's touch on a few common mistakes people make when trying to magnetize their tools. First off, using too much wire. More coil turns can create a stronger field, but only if you have the current to back it up. If you're shorting a battery, you'll just create more resistance and heat. Another mistake? Holding the wire against the battery for too long. You want quick pulses, not long connections. And remember, this method only works on ferromagnetic metals, so if it doesn't stick to a regular magnet, it won't work here. Most importantly, don't expect the magnetism to be permanent. What you're creating is temporary at best, and you'll get frustrated when it fades after a day or two of use. So to sum it all up, this wire wrapping trick is a fun little physics experiment, but it's not practical for your day-to-day work. You're way better off buying the right tools that are designed for the job. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope you found this experiment and discussion helpful. Got any questions or comments? Feel free to reach out. Until next time, stay safe in the shop, and I'll catch you in the next one.